Hi, I was just going to post a comment, but then I started writing and got long-winded, and I hate how YouTube only allows a couple, I don't know, probably a couple hundred characters. This is a response to Melinda's horribly titled Deluded Christian Atheist Challenge, which has got, I guess it's deluded is literal, but you're just begging for people to call each other deluded. Okay, one point I make is having deluded Christian atheist in your title on YouTube is like holding a steak in front of a bunch of dogs and asking them whether New Zealand will break 300 runs in 98 overs for the test against Australia. I don't know what that means. I made it up. I don't think it means anything. Yeah, the steak and the dogs is the image you got to get. Anyway, the other thing I was going to say is holding a job is not the best yardstick for determining a human being's value. Don't worry about it. I tell Melinda this all the time. I hope you will tell her this too. There are a lot of people who have jobs that are worthless human beings. I don't know. And there's a lot of people who don't have jobs that are very worthwhile, good human beings. There are lots of people without jobs who I'd rather spend time with than some people who do have jobs. So, put too much emphasis on having a job, and we put too much stigma on people not having a job, even if they have a totally good justification for not having a job. Alright, so here's down to the meat of Melinda's thing. Yeah, she gave too many hypothetical things at the start. You don't have to... So then the siblings and this and the parents and whatever. It's not the point. The question I think she was asking could be summed up as, should a person with delusions related to religion be discouraged from discussing or studying religion later? I think that's what she was asking. Could have been a 10-second video. Okay, I said I see what you're getting at, but you can't shelter the person from all the things they had delusions about. Some people, I think that's a little semicolon with a end parentheses, so it's a wink emoticon. Got it? Wink. Some people get paranoid about their family members. Once they feel better, it seems like a good idea to have them spend time with family members, so they come to realize that their family loves them and isn't out to get them. And if you were a tyrannical caretaker for a person with mental illness, you'd have a hell of a time trying to shelter them from everything they ever had delusions about. I remember once when Melinda, I'll say this as if it's a whole audience of people and not just Melinda I'm talking to. I remember once when Melinda had mentioned Regis and Kathy Lee in passing. It didn't really have to do with anything, and she wasn't focused as it does. She wasn't like deluded about Regis is coming to get me, or Regis loves me, or I love Regis. She just mentioned him once. But it was a night before, a whole weekend, she was starting to hear voices worse and worse. She was actually on some kind of, might have been Seroquel, very low dose. And basically she was just not having any symptoms, and I don't think the Seroquel was doing anything at the time. Does that make sense? She had kind of come out of an episode before. She was on Seroquel, but it was a very low dose, and I don't think that Seroquel was controlling her delusions or hallucinations. It was just she happened to be taking it while the stuff had gone away. Anyway, so when she had a relapse, Seroquel was too low and was not doing nothing. For about a weekend it was getting worse, so that she couldn't sleep at all because she was hearing voices all day and night, and I started not being able to sleep. I was trying to, I don't know if I was trying to calm her down or just keep her so that she'd be feeling okay by the weekend. I think I probably took that Monday off of work, and the Sunday night she was just up all night, and we were talking all. We decided like 2 or 4 in the morning, yeah, it would be a good idea to check into the hospital. Anyway, so we call the hospital, and they have a much smoother procedure to check in than St. Joe's and Ann Arbor did. They have a very clear-cut procedure for how to check into the inpatient behavioral health center, or whatever they call it, the euphemism for the psychiatric ward. They actually have a department or a room where you can come and check in or make that transition to becoming inpatient. We get there, and we're in the waiting room, and they have a TV on. It's got Regis and Kathy Lee on it. And Melinda got scared and started crying, and we said, can we turn it down or change the channel or turn it off? I don't remember what we ended up doing, but I mean, Melinda was really paranoid at the time and making connections between anything. If you basically, from what I've seen of all this, from what Melinda tells me and everything, my personal theory is if you were hallucinating for several days in a row, had no sleep, you'd get paranoid too, and you'd start making connections. And the delusions, I think, come after that for some people. I think it's like a reaction or a way to explain the hallucinations. And anyway, that's not the point. So the idea there is, you're going to not let her watch Regis because she had a kind of a delusion connection between Regis. I mean, how many different things that a person talks about, or a movie they watch, or a song they hear while they're having a psychotic episode, are you going to shelter them from? It's just, it would be ridiculous. The person is still capable of having a relapse because they're talking about religion or accidentally seeing Regis. Then they're probably just on the road to a relapse. Anything could become the seed for a delusion to form around at that point. I don't think you could keep a person in a closed room, and if they're at the point where they're going to be delusional or have a psychotic break, it's not going to be the fact of having Regis or a certain picture on the wall or a certain family member. They'll start having delusions and problems about a blank, empty room. You know, I don't think those things are really big factors in the whole thing. But as far as talking about the delusions in terms of demons, when your delusions involved demons, I don't know what. It kind of brings it back to the topic of whether some supernatural aspects of religion are technically worth considering as delusions, like Richard Dawkins and Gisborne say they are. If a person really believes that demons cause mental illness, like as a religious cultural belief, but they're still able to function in society with all of their people of their community who have similar religious beliefs, should they be considered deluded? I'd say yes, call them deluded, but I guess they don't need treatment unless it causes some kind of problem for them or for others. Maybe it is a problem. Maybe you could debate that. And I understand that the Diagnostic Statistical Manual 4 and psychiatrists in general say that you don't include religious or cultural beliefs widely held as delusions. And I understand how people function perfectly, even though they would say this wine going through this ritual in this building turns into the blood of Jesus as I drink it or something. And they function in society. I'm not saying they're crazy, but I'm saying, I don't know what I'm saying. I think it's just a delusion, but I don't think we need to strap them all down or something, I guess is what I'm saying. I don't know if that answers the question or is a good response. Mental illness. I think anyways, because mental illness is Chihuahua fairies nipping at you, really. I mean, not demons. What? Thank you.